Hey guys, it's Will from EDM Tips. I got a question the other day from a student in my masterclass who was asking me how to make a SUPERSAW synth stack that would be great in something like Future Bass. Now, if you want to learn more about the masterclass, you can click below. We've helped people hit number 2 in the Beatport charts, get shortlisted for a Grammy and get released on their favourite labels. And we've even helped people become full-time music producers. You can also download the Serum preset for free below if you want it. If you like this video, don't forget to share it with your friends and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And without further ado, let's hop into the door and get it done. Okay, so this is how to get a lovely sizzling kind of SUPERSAW synth that would be great in something like Future Bass. So let's have a quick listen and then I'll show you how I've got this SUPERSAW stack going on. So hopefully you'll agree that's lovely source synth, kind of big stack, nice and wide, lovely and sizzly. Let's hear it on its own. Okay, so let's look at the elements. First, I've got this sidechain compressor that's being triggered by my sidechain trigger, which is just following the kick pattern of this loop. But I'm triggering it from here, so not all of the drum loop will trigger the duck, just where the kick hits. So I've just programmed that in, made sure that you can't actually hear that channel, and it's just being used to sidechain the compressors that I've got on both the bass and the chords. So let's look at how this sound is made up. I did this from a completely fresh Serum patch. In fact, it's still pretty much the same. So I'm going to take it back to a completely fresh one. Let's see how I do that. Initialize preset. So this is what Serum will open up as. Let's just turn that off there. So lots of lovely 7th chords to give it that Future Bass sound, and that is a completely fresh Serum patch. Okay, so let's look at what I've done to change it. The first thing I've done, well, I've got my mono switch here, of course, on the master channel, so I can just check it's still working in mono. And that's important for this point because I'm just going to leave it on a saw wave. I'm going to increase the unison, which means I'm now going to have 4 saw waves playing in this first oscillator. And then we can hear they're going to be detuned, which sounds a bit like a horns honking in traffic. It's a bit too detuned, so we can just rein it back a bit with this detune knob to taste, and this is what gives it its wide stack sound. So that's completely not detuned, but we want it more detuned than that, so it gives it width. And this is where we want to check it sounds good in mono still. Until you hit that sweet point where it still sounds rich, but it doesn't sound out of tune. And that's pretty much all we're doing with the patch. Now the other thing you can add is a bit of noise, which will give it a bit more high-end sizzle. So let's just turn on the noise oscillator and then just bring it up a bit. And you might want to check out a different couple of samples for the noise. That's obviously way too low. We just want the high one. So that gives it some high-end sizzle. Next is how we process this bad boy, and it's gonna, this is gonna be what gives it the extra sizzle that really helps it cut through your mix. The first thing I would do is I would add a saturator, and I'm using the Omega Transformer model 458A here from Kush Audio. So let's just kind of bring that up a bit. I'll put that to default input and default output. And what I probably also do is make sure that the serum isn't clipping. And the way I do that is just look at this master level up here. It's kind of, if it's up there, it's clipping, you can see it's in the red. So just bring it down until it's not clipping. And then it's gonna not overcharge the saturator when it goes into it, so the signal's not too hot. So let's have a look at this saturator. I just turned it on. That's extreme. So we just want it at the sweet spot. That's completely off. And that's enough. So let's A/B test that quickly. So this is without the saturator, and then with it. Just really makes it crispy and richer as well. So now we're going on to the EQ, because there'll be lots of frequencies we don't need there, namely the bass. So we've got our bass line here, which is, I'll turn off the pump compressor, which is just the exact same Serum with a low pass filter. Very simple. And we don't want the top chords clashing with the bass, so we're going to roll off the low end here. So that's off. I'll just put that back to 0. So I'm just using a high pass filter there, and then just a shelf filter just to bring out some of those lower mid frequencies or those bass frequencies, and cut off the sub completely so the bass and the chords sit together nicely. And the last thing to do to add the sizzle is I'm going to add a, let's see what I've done here. I've put a hall reverb on an auxiliary channel, so let's dial some of that in just on the chords. I'll turn the bass off. So this is just the reverb on its own. I'm taking out the bass frequencies with this and adding some high-end boost just on the reverb. So it's really sizzly. So let's listen to that without the EQ on the reverb. So you can hear it adds even more sizzle. Now I'm just using the utility here to boost the volume of the reverb a bit, but we don't really need this. Check in mono. So this is with no reverb, and this is with the reverb. So that's lovely and sizzly. And now all I've done is I've added the sidechain compressor to the reverb, the chords, and the bass to make them pump in time with the drums. Let's have a listen. And that is how you make a SUPERSAW future bass lovely sizzly stack. Let me know if you're liking this in the comments below, guys. Don't forget you can download that preset completely free below this vid as well. And thanks for watching. Until next time, cheers and happy producing.